And now for more on this very story, it's a pleasure to welcome Andrea Stricker, Non-Proliferation Program Deputy Director at the Foundation for the Defense of Democracies. Andrea, good to see you again. So, as we all know, so much hinges on the outcome of these indirect nuclear talks in Geneva, still underway right now. When the Omani foreign minister, as mediator, posts updates about what he calls the exchange of creative and positive ideas, what are your thoughts and what are your concerns?
Great to be with you, Benita. I think the terms that the U.S. reportedly gave to the Iranians raise a lot more questions than they answer. For example, it talks about the Iranians dismantling 3 nuclear sites that are already destroyed because of the U.S. and Israeli strikes in June, the Fordo, the Natanz, and the Esfahan complex. So does it involve assets and facilities around those sites that may still be in play in an Iranian breakout to nuclear weapons? And that's not even touching on the fact that the U.S. would have to let Iran resume enrichment after destroying it. And I think that would be a tough sell to allow them to enrich to 20% for medical isotopes. The Trump administration would have to say that this is somehow better than the JCPOA, and that would be a tough sell.
And Andrea, a senior Iranian official has told Reuters that the U.S. and Iran could reach a deal if nuclear and non-nuclear issues are separated. It also seems the Iranians are presenting fresh ideas, possibly linked to the sale of oil and other incentives. So if the U.S. agrees to keep talking and Iran buys more time, where does this leave Israel, who faces an existential threat both on the nuclear front and also wants to curb the Iranian ballistic missile program?
That's a great question. And the U.S. Navy, the military, can't stay in the region forever at this deployment level. And so there does have to be some kind of an endpoint with a deal. And as we know, the talks so far are not even touching on the missiles, the terror threat, or the domestic repression in Iran that really started this whole process with the killing of around 40,000 innocent people. So I think if a deal realistically doesn't involve the full dismantlement of Iran's nuclear program permanently and verifiably, which would include a full declaration of their past nuclear weapons work, it's really not worth giving any type of sanctions relief that is just going to look terrible for President Trump in light of all of these executions.
So very briefly, how do you see this all unfolding? Do you think that these parties can reach some kind of tangible, realistic compromise here?
I think it still remains unlikely that we will reach a deal with the Iranians that would really address any of these 4 U.S. concerns. And the time is growing short with all of these deployments in the region. And I think that Trump will have a difficult time selling it politically. So I think it's still more likely that the U.S. will end up having to strike.
Andrea Stricker, Non-Proliferation Program Deputy Director at the Foundation for the Defense of Democracies. Always appreciate your time and your insights. Thank you so much.
Thank you.